to the Guys Unpacked Podcast. My name is Dre.
And this is Rich. We inside the Soundbag Studios. Big up Soundbag Entertainment. Big shout out to DJ Majestic coming through with the intro music. Also, we want to give a big shout out to Island Boys Cuisine for hooking us up with the food today.
Each and every podcast, we're going to go over myriad of topics, anywhere from women to politics and everything in between. And welcome to our first episode. All right, so Mr. Rich,
bro,
midway point in January. How was your 2020? How was your holiday?
2020 was cool. You know what I'm saying? Dealt with COVID like everybody else was.
You had it? Or?
No. I mean, look, here's the thing. If I had it, I would have said, because the problem I had was like a lot of people had it and didn't say anything.
Sure.
Because like COVID ain't a family secret. Like COVID isn't the uncle that you know probably you shouldn't bring your daughter. You know what I'm saying? That's not COVID. Like if you get it, let people know so that we can adjust. Like yo. So I didn't have it, but you know I knew a lot of friends that did it. Just dealing with the fact that it like shut so much stuff down, like events, travel, etc. And then I didn't have. I was fortunate enough that I was able to. You know, I still worked and everything, but a lot of people I know lost loved ones, lost jobs, etc.
Facts.
But dealt with that and made it through the holidays and we're here in 2021.
Okay.
What about you, bro?
2020 was a very interesting year, full of ups and downs. But what I will say, it was a net positive. Ultimately, spent a lot of time by myself, as everyone else did. So a lot of introspection, a lot of growth mindset activities.
Right.
I'm by far the healthiest I've ever been, spiritually, emotionally, physically, nutritionally, all the LYs. So again, net positive. I'm happy about it. The holiday was great. Got to see my boys, which is the most important. Mm-hmm. Definitely a different holiday than normal because typically I'll travel.
Yeah.
But I was home. You know, I had a good time nonetheless. And then fast forward into the first week of the year, which I think we could probably spend a lot of time on. But you know, white people started white people and they stormed the Capitol.
Yo, so here's the crazy thing, right?
First of all, cheers, sir.
Oh, definitely.
To a better 2021.
To a better 2021 and all the rest to come after it, yo.
Okay. We're already on a bad start to the year, but you know.
Look, I shared a meme, and credit to whoever made this meme. My New Year starts February 1st, because January still got some 2020 shit going on.
Sure, I like that.
That's definitely. I read it, I was like, this is factual.
Perfect.
So, man, the thing with the Capitol was like, after all the craziness of 2020, and then you knew that, like, if you followed the Trump presidency, right?
Sure.
You had to know that, this has to end in a shit show. And you just don't know what it's going to be. Like, you couldn't predict what but you just kind of knew
something was going to happen.
Following that presidency, like, this ain't just going to, it's going to end normal.
It's got to have a climax at the ending.
And, bruh, they delivered, like, in spades. They delivered.
Yo, it was a landslide victory at the end for them.
They came through with it, dog. So the crazy thing with the Capitol, for me, when I really, like, break it down, it was, you were upset, right? Not necessarily because you lost.
Okay.
Because you were convinced that you were cheated.
Okay, yep.
Right? So let's say we give them people the benefit of the doubt, which, call them what you will. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt, right? You were convinced that you were cheated. And your course of action was to get guns, travel from Cali down south, travel from all over. To converge on D.C., and then at the word of Trump, just like, yeah.
Yo, to just jump in real quick, I want to make it very, very clear that this isn't a DC thing, right? Because it was funny. I was getting calls, I was getting texts, I'm getting emails from people out of the country in particular.
Right.
But definitely some people within the country, like, are you okay?
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, nobody from DC It's on the Hill right now.
We're not.
Nobody from DC or that lives in DC is on the Hill. And granted, there might be a few people, but for the most part, everyone that we saw on camera, on social media, storming that Capitol, outside of the people that work in the Capitol,
right? Fam, did you see?
Came from out of the country.
Fam,
I mean, not out of the country.
You ain't see the video of white dude in the stepped outside. Dog, there's a video online. White dude steps outside like, get the fuck out of my city. Like, that was DC people.
Yes.
DC people was just mad that these fools came. Like, regardless of who you voted for, they was mad at what was happening. I have friends I have coworkers rather, who I know are Republican, was mad at what they were seeing.
Well, and I'll throw in there too, in DC, and I think DC is a perfect example of this, we are so insular. We're in our own little bubble because whether you are Republican or Democrat, we're still collectively progressive for the most part. Right. So, like, all the crazy antics is not what the typical Republicans in this area are doing.
Exactly. So we might go a little far left sometimes.
Right. For sure.
But right. No, I agree with what you're saying.
Because, like, when it comes down to it, like, Republicans, even in this area, are still exposed to all the things that liberals, for the most part, are trying to normalize. So LGBTQ community, anti-abortion,
anti-pollution, a lot of green energy stuff.
All that extra stuff. Like people within this area get it. Right. But
and you kind of have to live in the area.
For sure. Right. But podunk, wherever you're from, And I don't mean
we're storming the Capitol.
And the
it's a revolution.
The crazy thing is, podunk usually is some down south rural shit.
Right.
Podunk is also California because
that's what I'm about to say.
Homegirl who got shot and she got arrested on like trying to jump through the window in the Capitol was from, I think, somewhere in Cali.
She was from out in Cali.
Right. Hopefully not San Diego, because I love San Diego. And the people in San Diego, I rock with, and that would be a bad one for me.
I generally like Cali. Like, I generally like Cali anywhere. So the problem was this young lady thought it made sense, right? But
I'm gonna stop you there, and I'm gonna say not even made sense. She felt like it was her duty, or
it was her right.
Her right to just storm the Capitol. It was like the same lady who I know you saw this. The lady who was outside, who was like, "We got tear gas."
Yeah. What? I can't remember her name. But I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And they were like, "Well, why'd you?"
We're storming the Capitol.
We're storming the Capitol.
It's a revolution, right?
So, I hate to bring even race into this, but ain't no black person out here or person of color feeling like I'm in a place of entitlement to go and take the Capitol.
So, let me say this, right?
Okay.
I don't even think it's so much. It's definitely a race thing to an extent, right? But you got to think about it like this. This is a group of people who, for 8 years, talked about how they were losing the country under Obama, right? So, keep in mind, they lost nothing. Obama tried to give them health care, whether you agree with how the Affordable Care Act rolled out, whether you agree with it or not. Try to give it.
It was called Obamacare.
Right.
Because coined Obamacare. But don't get it twisted. They like the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
Who went asked about that?
I saw that. Yo.
The social experiment, right?
Son, I saw that. And I was like, fam, that's
it's the same thing.
But the thing of it is, it kind of shows you what you're dealing with. Or it shows you what you're up against, basically.
Right. It also shows you the power of marketing.
Right. And that is the power of Donald J. Trump.
Dog.
Because
my man act like he literally said on camera in front of his mass of followers, and it's one thing, like, it's scary that I'm going to say this, but he has a certain power that is somewhat admirable, but it's also scary because it's like this.
So did Hitler.
This dude, facts. Like, this dude literally told his people what to do, and they just, like, without a thought in their mind, said, "You know what? I'm going to buy a plane ticket, or I'm going to drive to DC
with a gun." They brought a noose.
They did a lot of stuff. And this is a perfect segue. All the dudes who came in with, like, the tactical zip ties.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason you come into the Capitol with zip ties is to take hostages.
Right.
Right. Either that or you just want to look cool, I guess. But like,
although his story was that he found them and was trying to find police and give it to the cops. That was
lies. Right. So let's talk about that because it's been a week now, a little over a week since the Capitol got stormed. Mm-hmm. DC looks a lot different. We're going to kind of go back and forth here. The police chief, the Capitol police chief, clearly dropped the ball. And hold on. Okay. When I say I'm not, let me backtrack.
No. Finish your thought. Finish your thought.
The Capitol Police dropped the ball, and I'm not saying that their intention was not in the right place because I have read reports that they were requesting assistance and they didn't get it.
I'll touch on that in a second.
That's right. I know you're law enforcement.
No, not even that. But it's not even that. It's like I heard the same things you heard.
Right.
Which is why, like, when I listened to it, so just not to interrupt.
You good?
He resigned, right? Because what happened was a failure, and when that happens, the guy at the top takes the L. That's the reality of it.
That's right. He's got to lay on the sword.
Right. The flip side of that is when you're that high up, he'll be fine. He'll get another job. He'll be an analyst on some channel. He'll be all right.
Right.
But the report I heard in the news this morning from a reporter for the Washington Post was that basically their intel unit got the intelligence, and the intelligence they got laid it out bit by bit, like exactly what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. They said, "Hey, these people are coming. They're not coming to. They're not coming for anti-protesters. Right. They're not coming for Biden. They are literally coming to attack Congress."
Facts.
So he goes to the Sergeant at Arms of the Senate and the House, and they tell him, we don't like the optics of having the National Guard here. Like we didn't care about it for anything else. Like, but right now, we don't want the look of it.
Right.
And they say, like, hey, maybe they thought that intel was going to reflect the minority. It wasn't going to reflect the overall crowd. So maybe they felt like we don't want to overreact for 10 or 20 people. We don't really, and it's like, you don't believe something's going to happen until it happens. Like, so you don't believe, I was at work and I heard it like, my boss was like, yo, they stormed the Capitol. And I was like, what do you mean they stormed the Capitol? Like they out front the building getting beat up? He's like, no, they're in the building.
So that's the thing, though. Right. It actually makes total sense to me, though, right? Mm-hmm. Because not that the Capitol Police aren't usually very well prepared for people coming in or trying to come in, but the reality is most people trying to come into the Capitol on a regular day, it's not many people.
It's not a mob.
So you have the resources available to check them and also have people checking behind you. Like here, we're talking about thousands of people who decided to come through. And if we don't have the resources to handle it, I'm going to put on my work hat now. So I work in emergency management, right? Specifically for utilities. And one of the things that a lot of utilities do is when we know a storm is coming, we have agreements with other utilities in other states where we know, we call it mutual assistance, where we know that like their state is not going to get hit. So let me hire like your guys to come through and be prepared for when we have to start responding. Right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing here where like, it's possible that the storm comes through and doesn't actually knock out everybody's power, but we're still prepared just in case.
Just in case. Right. So to touch on that, what Stephen's son did was, so he's and again, all of this is according to the reporting from, so I obviously wasn't in a room, so I'm just regurgitating what I heard. That because he could not get additional help because he went to his bosses, because the Sergeant at Arms of the House and Senate are over the Chief of Capitol Police.
Okay.
So when they declined, he did what he could within his ability with what he had. He expanded the perimeter. So basically they were saying, if this is the Capitol and they were supposed to be here, he moved them out further.
Okay.
To say, look, I don't know what's coming. We're hearing X. It could just be nothing, but just in case, he did what he could, from what I'm being told. He did what he could. And he declined to comment on it because I guess the reporter asked for he declined to comment on it. The problem with the breakdown was what some of them officers was doing on the scene. Because I, as the chief, can tell you, do X, Y, and Z. And then the day of, you opening the fence, you taking selfies, you helping. I heard that that in the news, one of the congresswomen panic button under her desk was ripped out.
Sure.
Like ahead of it.
I heard.
They're saying right now they're investigating basically to see if there was like
some malfeasance and people,
right ahead of what happened. So it's all developing. So it's just craziness, but it goes back to just the power of Donald Trump, right?
Bro.
Because you, for 44 presidents before you, and we weren't alive for that. So let's think the last 4 or 5. Let's think Carter, Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama, right?
Right.
You've never seen a president say, I don't like how this went. And tell you ahead of time, if I lose, it's rigged. If I win, it's fair.
Right. And his followers, like, went with the logic. And were like, that makes sense.
Right. That's what, dog. Jordan Klepper is one of my favorite. First of all, I love the whole Daily Show cast.
Dog.
They're
hilarious.
Dog. Jon Stewart started something great. Trevor Noah took the ball and is keeping it like.
Bruh.
So
and it's perfect the way that, like, because I hate to even say this, but like I was a Jon Stewart fan, like a huge Jon Stewart fan, and I was a Trevor Noah fan, and I was like, I don't know how this.
How this is going to work.
How this relay is going to work.
Right.
And it's worked perfectly.
Because they're different.
Right. And I think what it was I was so interested in getting another Jon Stewart or like Jon Stewart.
Right. Because
let me
tell you, Jon Stewart's a legend.
And just like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
But this one wasn't even a fix. This is just an alteration. It's like, yo, this works too.
And in reality, Jon was leaving. So it wasn't it wasn't like, because I promise you, I don't think Comedy would have ever replaced him voluntarily.
You just can't.
Right. So he was like, you know what? I'm done with it. I'm ready to move on. And Trevor took the ball and has been running with it beautifully.
Sure.
The show is different, but it's his show now.
Yep.
So people like you and me can remember the Jon Stewart version, but Trevor has definitely made it his show and it's great.
Right.
Jordan Klepper's coverage at the rallies.
Dog, his man on the street like interviews are epic, bro. Because he has that dry sense of sarcastic humor that they don't always even understand.
They don't get it.
Them.
Right. They don't get it.
And I'm like, do y'all not realize this?
He is to their... He asked the one chick, he was like, so do you believe that Biden could have won the election? No, absolutely. It was stolen. Oh, but do you think it's possible that a president that never polled above 50% could have just lost? He was like...
Yeah, it's possible.
No, that's not right. She's like, no, that's not possible. Oh, okay, cool.
It's like, all right, cool.
Right, it's cool. So don't worry about it. Like I can tell you are so brainwashed that you don't realize that the thing with Trump is Trump ran hot or cold for most people. Meaning the people who hated him.
Sure.
And they were anti-Trump before he got elected, and they were anti-Trump all through. So nothing that he may have done good would have ever resonated with them because they've made up their mind pre-election that you're a reality TV con man. You have you are unqualified for this job.
And I'll even throw in there, he wasn't even interested in getting those people. The strategy was not to get the people.
Right.
And that usually is the strategy, right? Like, we're not going to look for the people who are completely against me. We're going to look for people on the fence.
Right. Trump found a group of people that hung on his every word.
Yep.
That absolutely adore him.
Right.
That no matter what, there were women after the whole. Remember the grab him by the pussy?
Yeah.
Women were wearing shirts like he can grab this pussy. Right.
Yeah, and I was like,
I'm like, wait a minute.
Dog, like, quick segue here, but that's very similar to the show The Bachelor. I saw this meme. I think it was last week or the week before. The Bachelor, and it's like. It's a show about a man that dates multiple women at the same time, watched by women who hate dudes who watch.
Right, that's what that means. Right,
it's the same concept,
it's the exact same. Like, this is the guy that y'all have been telling that you have been warning your daughters against.
Right.
Him.
Right. But he grab
cool.
mine though.
Right,
he's good.
Cool.
Like,
I'm good with him. Like,
he's a millionaire. He
literally said that. He was like, when you're rich, you could do it. You can do whatever you want. You walking. And the thing about that, and this is not even. I ain't trying to go back to the 4 years ago, but just the crazy thing. The reason that still stuck with me is because that was candid.
Sure.
That was caught.
Dog.
That would have sunk every other presidential candidate.
Yes.
From the beginning of recorded, like no one else could have survived that.
And I think that's a perfect segue into my thought around Donald Trump didn't technically win the election. Hillary Clinton lost the election.
Absolutely.
Right? Because she didn't do what she was supposed to do. And I'm not saying her team, right? She was more or less sitting on the laurels of like, this is gonna work because my people, the American people, understand that he's grotesque.
Right.
For me, as much as I hated to say it, I knew that he was gonna win because at the time I was doing a lot of work in rural America. Mm-hmm. So I'm traveling to Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
And I'm in like Indiana, and I'm in all these places, and I'm seeing the Trump stickers. Wow. I'm seeing the flags.
Right.
And it's funny because like when I'm home, of course, we don't see any of that. Right. Matter of fact, typically we don't see anything. Period.
No. Right.
Because in DC, we don't have to show everyone that we're following.
DC is so political, it's almost apolitical.
Right. And it was funny. I remember election night. So I was actually in Cali.
Right.
So I'm up late watching, and all my friends, particularly my white friends, are like crying, and I can't believe it. And I was like, I've been telling y'all for the last couple of weeks. No, but I was like, we live in DC.
Right.
So y'all, you cannot have the temperature of the political
right. Like, when you're only
landscape just in this insular place where Republicans and liberals actually get along.
And beyond that the city itself is so liberal.
Right.
That you're not getting a lot of the other side of things.
Sure.
And so it's like I told people with Colin Kaepernick as an example, right? And we're going to get back to this, but just it's a good example. A lot of people were angry about the Colin Kaepernick situation because from their minds, the sports teams shouldn't they don't care about losing my dollars, then F it, whatever. And I was like, it's not just that. You have to realize no matter what decision they make, they're losing people. You are only concerned that they're losing your dollars.
Sure.
They are like, yeah, but there's a whole society of people that will say the same thing.
And let's be real here too. The people who were complaining about it probably aren't spending that much money.
Right. Like you weren't going to games.
Right. It's the people who they're concerned about are the ones actually paying to go to games, so buying merchandise.
So if I'm telling you I'm not coming, I'm not buying season tickets or whatever anymore. So yeah, I get and don't get me wrong, I'm not condoning. I'm just saying when you look at it just from a financial standpoint, you're saying, oh, well, we need to take our money out. I was like, right, it's not that they're not concerned with losing your money. It's that they are looking, hey,
bottom line,
I'm losing money one way or the next, so I need to roll one side or the other.
Out the least amount of money to lose.
Right, because whether I side with him or against him, someone is going to. Because again, a lot of coworkers, they did not they stopped watching football because the NFL would not take a stand on kneeling. Because even though they did not even though they blackballed Kaepernick, remember the NFL never took an official stand. Sure. Some of the owners, like Jerry Jones and them, said, "Oh, my team, blah blah blah."
They'll stand up.
But the NFL never took a stand. It never penalized, suspended or anything anyone for kneeling.
Right.
There were people who were angry at the NFL
for not taking
a stand and saying no, they have to stand or whatever. And it was like, what the people in DC, back to your point, they're looking at the temperature of the area.
Sure.
You're traveling, so you're seeing.
I'm getting to see more than just here. Right.
I remember going to a training out in Virginia, but it was down in Shenandoah Valley, somewhere down there, right? Mm-hmm. And it was me and a white coworker.
Where black people get hanged.
Bruh, me and a white coworker, prior to the training, went to go grab breakfast. Walked into this. Good, keep in mind.
Waffle House?
No. Gas station. We went to just grab something quick, right? Dog, it's 2019.
Okay.
We're not in the 60s.
You might as well be.
Right. We walked in there. When I tell you, you could hear the record skip. Bro. As we walked in, the dudes, whitest white dude and me, son, walked in, and it was like,
bro, I'm not even gonna let you finish this story.
Right. That was the end, dog. The way they looked at us like that the whole way, son.
All I will say as an extension of that before we reel it back is a lot of people don't realize that there's still a ton of pockets in the U.S. that are just like that.
Right.
So having this idea that we are super progressive, which maybe as a net, we are progressive, but you gotta still look at averages. Just because you might have an amazing average doesn't mean there's some people who are still straggling and keeping that average down.
And Trump found those people.
Of course.
So I've spent 4 years not giving Donald Trump credit, not because I didn't acknowledge it because I refuse to.
Okay.
Out of sheer just refusal, right? Now that he's where he is, I can say I've always thought his strategy was brilliant in that he knew, you know what? Because remember, Donald Trump was never political. Like, you've never seen him say anything about Bush, Clinton, or Bush.
Because he understood
right.
that he has to get along with everybody.
Right. Then a black guy gets in office.
Right.
All of a sudden, the first time you see Donald Trump on any news station criticizing the president was Barack Obama.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So the only thing about Barack Obama that I could find that was different from Clinton, Bush, or Clinton was race. So I'm going to do simple math, right?
Sure.
Simple math.
Sure.
He never said one remotely positive thing about Obama on every show he went on. So then you do some research into Donald Trump and you realize there's a little bit more going on in the past, lawsuits and stuff, whatever, right? We don't got to hash all that.
Sure.
So realizing that Obama's popularity amongst Democrats and amongst the party, he would never be able to
get that.
Right.
Could never attain that.
So.
And that bruised his ego.
Right. So I'm going to target the anti-Obama.
Of course.
I'm going to go find the folks who probably never voted.
Yep.
In all of the rural areas that believe. And the thing was, it's always funny when I hear Republicans on, like, because I'll watch Fox News and I'll watch CNN because I want to hear what they're saying.
Sure.
Right? And when you hear them saying, oh, you don't understand, these people feel like they're losing their country.
Sure.
And those are the voices that we speak for. And I'm like, losing their what? They feel like they're
okay, so I liken it to this, and this is all entitlement, right? Mm-hmm. And I try to explain this to a lot of people that I particularly folks that don't believe in privilege or white privilege in particular,
right?
Right? I'm like, all right, let's take color out of it, and let's think about an affluent family,
okay,
right? And they have a kid, and every time they fly first class.
Okay.
So this kid grows up
flying first class.
Okay. They get whatever food they want, whatever drinks they want. They get on the plane first, all that, right? People literally like just do whatever they want them to do while on this plane, right?
Because you can't even get a meal in coach no more.
At all, right? Now, fast forward to them being, working class, or not working class, but working age rather.
The child.
Right, child, the same child. Mm. And let's just say the parents either don't have as much money as they used to, or have the mindset that we raised you based off of our morals and our money, but now it's your turn to figure this out yourself.
Right.
Right? And then the kid has to go and buy a ticket, right? Or let's say they have to make an emergency trip somewhere and there's no room on first class. They have to fly coach.
Right.
Whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
They have to fly coach now.
Right.
And they lose their shit because they can't get on first.
I've seen it.
They got to pay for a drink.
Right.
They can't get food.
Right.
Like, to me, that is essentially exactly what people are saying when they say they lose their country. It's like they honestly just don't know any different. So I'm not giving them a pass, but it's like I understand where you're coming from because you just know.
Right. No, and it's not giving them a pass at all. I get what you're saying. The craziest part of that is these people, some of them, were never in first fucking class.
Ever.
Like, that's the crazy. Like, you was living in a trailer, or you were living in poverty for your community.
Forever.
Right. And you've not had anything to lose. In fact, you've benefited from a lot of these government and social services that you rally against and vote against. Sure. But now, you had, and again, it comes back to race. If you know me, and guys, if you know me, I don't use the race card generally because I feel like when you use it too liberally, it
waters down the argument.
Right. So you lose the opportunity to use it when it counts. It's like if every card is a big joker, then there is no big joker.
Sure.
So I'm just like, you had the opportunity, right, to say, hey, we didn't really have much, et cetera, but then here comes this black president who, by all accounts, took nothing from you, did nothing to you.
Right.
You can't name a single policy of his that detrimentally affected you to the point that justifies how you hated him.
Sure.
this notion, this Obama thing, bothered y'all so much that you felt like you lost so much in this. You lost nothing.
You lost nothing, but you felt like you did.
He never took your guns away.
Right.
He never
even said he wanted to take the guns away.
Never mentioned guns one time.
Because he actually knows how to play the game. He knows that he can't get away with trying to take guns away.
He knows that no president moving forward will ever be able to remove guns from America.
Not with it being an amendment. There's just not, it's not going to happen.
Every Republican and Democrat president knows that moving forward. So this notion of, like, Trump text, tweets, Virginia, oh, Virginia, I saved your Second Amendment. Biden was trying to take it away, but I saved it. Vote Trump. And I'm like, who is stupid enough to believe this? But of course, I click the comments. Because
myriad of comments.
And I'm just like,
yay, Trump.
Right. I'm like, first of all, you guys don't even know how politics works. First of all, he can't take away the Second Amendment. Second of all, Trump didn't. Third of all, if the governor of Virginia is passing a law, the president can't stop him.
That's basic civics, though.
Right.
That's basic civics. Like, most people don't understand the difference in power.
Right.
They don't understand checks and balances. They don't understand anything. A lot of people, they hear president, they think the president can do any and everything.
And so Trump milked that.
Of course.
And he found I'm not going to say everyone that voted for Trump was uneducated, because that's not true.
It's definitely not true.
But because
I know some people who voted for him.
He found a lot of uneducated people who did not know anything and was able to tell him whatever.
Right.
So if I tell you whatever, you're just going to believe it.
Right.
So he got all of these people to believe, because remember, he's been pitching a narrative since Hillary, not even Obama, since Hillary, where he's saying, if I lose, the election's rigged.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah.
So you pitch that narrative for 4 years. Then you start, when the coronavirus hits, and you start talking about, hey, mail-in voting would have all of these irregularities and blah, 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 blah. And every analyst is like, we've always had some form of mail-in voting. Mail-in voting has existed since the beginning of, it's primarily been used for absentee, but there's always
been the option.
Right. We've always had an apparatus for mail-in voting. No, mail-in voting is going to lead to fraud. He literally said in one, I'm all for absentee voting. It's the mail-in voting I hate. And I was like,
it's the same thing, bro. Like, two sides of the same coin.
But his people.
Yeah, so I think that's actually a perfect segue back to, I know we went on a serious tangent, but that's a perfect segue back to what has happened and transpired since last week, Wednesday, to today, right?
Yeah.
Because, all right, so we have, to me, all of last week Wednesday was entitlement.
Yes.
Right? All of it was
on full display.
Right. I mean, you legit, and I know it's been scattered around social media, but you legit had people who were storming the Capitol, taking pictures, posting things to social media, no mask on, specifically at a time where you could get away with wearing a mask.
Nobody would stop you. They would encourage you.
Exactly. So it's like, the type of entitlement a lot of these folks had was my picture, my face being plastered anywhere is not going to stop
what I'm doing,
which is crazy, because I think any other logical person would be like, all right, if I'm going to do something that I know is wrong, and maybe what that means is they just didn't think it was wrong. Maybe they really felt like what they were doing was the right thing.
Right, and so that's the point I'm trying to make, right? I agree with your point about entitlement, but I think you're missing the boat. I don't think they think what they were doing was wrong.
Right.
Because remember, if the president of the United States says, we're going to the Capitol and I'm coming down there with you, because that's what he said in the speech. So you're like, well, shit,
if he's going to do it.
Right, who's going to check me? I'm working with this dude. You know what I'm saying? So they're like, they felt no need to cover.
Sure.
Look at me. I'm on social media. We're storming the Capitol. They're broadcasting it.
The dude who was at Nancy Pelosi's desk,
feet up,
going through her mail,
posting it, bruh, fam. Let me tell you something. and it shows. Look, it shows you the difference, right? Because we can talk about protests versus riots versus looting till the cows come home, and that's going to be a topic for. I'm gonna knock this joint. I'll keep playing around.
Please don't.
Right.
I mean, you barely went to the bottle yet.
I know. Look,
don't knock it over though.
Listen. It's all right. Full disclosure, guys, just so y'all know, this is actually the second episode, right? So We filmed an episode last week.
He's still drunk from that episode, apparently. Just gonna put that out.
And don't get me wrong, everything came out great, but like we realized how much we consumed last week. It was
3 of us.
It was 3 of us.
And we all went through 3 full bottles of alcohol. This is the reason why I'm drinking champagne. 1, because champagne is what I actually normally drink. But 2, because I can monitor my alcohol intake a lot better drinking this as opposed to that.
So, right.
Sitting down at that, right?
Yeah.
One thing if it's carnival time, we jumping up, nah.
Sitting, right. So, but yeah, so back to the point, right? When these guys, at no point did anyone feel the need, because like I said, we can argue protests versus riots or whatever.
Sure.
When you look at like Chaz, when they set up that autonomous zone out in Seattle, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, some people did show their faces, but you did not see people broadcasting themselves to this level.
Right.
Because on a level, they knew, yes, we're upset at this area, but you know what you're doing is wrong.
Dog, you know what this proves? You know what this shit proved to me?
What?
The same way how like young niggas in the hood will go on social media waving their guns and shit, and they actually committed a crime with the guns and then getting caught, and we're all like, nigga, you're stupid.
Right,
like,
how are you that dumb?
This is the white version of that shit.
On a whole different level.
Breaking way worse laws,
because you
federal
know
laws, dog.
Because you know the crazy thing about it? Them niggas is normally the ones that the OGs is like, the fuck is these niggas? Like, exactly. The OGs is looking at them like, Jesus Christ.
But there are no OGs for the white people that stormed the Capitol.
This was their first.
It's just other white people like.
This was their first foray into niggerdom. So they like, is this what we do?
They not ready for the nigga life, dog.
We're storming the Capitol. It was like, no, Susan, sit down. Susan.
Yo,
it's a revolution, right?
Yo, did you see that? Like, and I don't know how true this was, but I saw a post about the same chick who was like, they tear gas.
That was Onions.
There was an Onion.
I saw the post. I've been trying to freeze frame that shot.
It's so hard.
And so there's a point in the shot where it looks like there might be something white in the towel, but I can't tell.
You can't tell.
Right. So,
and I think both of us are the type that we do our due diligence.
Right. So I would not share it.
Right. I wouldn't share it either, but I was like, but maybe it wasn't.
Dog. You know what was crazy too? The dude, the little young white boy, right? Who was next to old girl that got shot.
Okay.
And his interview, he was like, yeah, I was just standing there, like I got blood on my hand. And the crazy thing with me, like the germaphobe in me was looking at it like, wash that shit off, bro. You have blood. Like, nigga, it's coronavirus right now. Like, what are you doing? Like,
coronavirus!
Son, I'm sitting here like,
Cardi B voice.
Right, like he's still out here like, why you still have her blood on you? Though? Like,
yeah,
you gonna So, but he's like giving an interview to the cops, like, yeah, we were in there, and then she was shot, and she was on the ground. Why were you in there? Oh, we were storming the Capitol. I'm like, fam.
They
imagine, dog.
We couldn't say that on camera.
Imagine you pull up in a Benz, right?
Sure.
And then call it the 90s. You pull up in the hood in a brand new S-Class, right? 600. And it happens to be reporters out there for whatever reason. They looked at you like, hey, sir, can we talk to you for a minute? Hey, sure. Well, what do you do for a living? Oh, man, that's my corner right there. I got a couple of D-boys on that corner right there. It's a revolution, man. They getting this block right. They bring that shit. We getting
that money, dog.
Right, they bring that shit to me. That's how I got this. Because I actually live up in 4B, but, I got, like, that's what they did. They sold drugs and went to the news and was like, yep, that was us.
That's right. So
no mask, no nothing.
So as we talk about this, let's go to a similar related topic. All right, so this may not be popular opinion among the masses. Some people will agree, I'm sure. Yeah. But some people might not agree.
Okay.
Sean King, I am not a fan of him. And let me tell you why.
All right.
He cries wolf for like every single occurrence of some type of atrocity done to black people.
Is it crying wolf though?
So it's not technically crying wolf.
Okay.
I use that term because it's the most applicable. Because crying wolf really was a dude who like made noise about something that wasn't really there.
Okay.
And then like when it did come, it was a problem.
All right.
Here it's like Sean King makes noise about every single thing that for me, how it looks, like it almost numbs me to what he has to say because now if everything's an issue, then nothing's really an issue, right? So I say all to say, as much as I'm not a fan of Sean King, let me tell you the Pulitzer Prize that I want to give to this brother.
He's
bro, the amount of noise he's made around this, and I don't know if he's the one who's actually gotten it done or
it don't matter. It might be.
All I know is the amount of people he's saying like, he's been arrested. He's been arrested. He's been arrested.
He's fine. Even before they arrested you, he's like, this person, this person, find this dude, this criminal. And like, oh shit, okay, cool. Like
he's pulling the Donald Trump. He's like, we need a name for this person.
Right.
And I'm like,
dog, and he's putting, and the best part, and he's utilizing social media, not necessarily the way it was meant to be used, but he is weaponizing the fuck out of it. Because he's like, yo, find him. I need names, addresses, and then 3 hours later, he's so-and-so from this place.
And what's wild is, and I don't know if this was him, but I know you saw that one of the dudes that got caught, it was his ex-wife. That
ratted him out.
Ratted him out. So again, I don't know if it was Sean King, but whoever it is that is doing this, I want to give them awards.
Yeah, I applaud them people.
Let me tell you,
they're doing some investigative journalism.
The satisfaction that I've been getting scrolling through Instagram, being like, that one was caught,
arrested.
that one was caught, that one was caught.
It's like,
and homeboy who was in the whole like
the shaman.
No, not the shaman. The dude who had like the moose hat and like
the shaman.
That's shaman. Okay.
Yeah, that's the one they're calling him the QAnon. The QAnon shaman, right?
And he had the vest.
Yeah.
And all that. And then like, dog, when I saw
his story annoys me.
He is not eating in prison. One, he was arrested, so perfect.
Right.
Great. But he is not eating because he isn't given food that's organic.
Oh wait, you ain't hear the update on that?
I heard that they're now giving him organic.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is like, that is the epitome of privilege.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I was like, because there was a problem with that, son. I was with, like, when he requested organic meat, I was like, he gonna get some organic meat in prison for sure.
Some nice organic meat.
Non-GMO, farm raised. Stay in prison long enough, fam. That organic meat is coming.
It's coming.
It's coming one way or the next.
Moisten up, dog.
But then they cried and complained, and the judge. So if I was an inmate,
sure,
it could be Monday.
Ooh.
I could be getting out Friday. Hey, let them know I can only eat non-GMO, wild-caught salmon.
Sure.
I need to meet the fisherman who caught it. I need to know his family and his background. Like, I'm making ridiculous, because I'm like, you have set the precedent right now, right?
Dog, it's similar to, I know you're a movie man. I think this is the name of the movie, Enemy of the State. It's a joint with Jamie Foxx and
Enemy of the State is Will Smith and
the Enemy of the State, the one with Jamie Foxx and dude from 300, Gerard Butler. Okay. Remember where like his
a law-abiding citizen.
Law-abiding citizen.
Yeah.
Remember the scene when he's like, I'm gonna give you the location of whoever it was.
Yeah.
But I need this type of mattress.
Right.
I need a steak from El Frisco.
Right.
And all this shit. And the warden was like, it's not an issue that you are a have. Right. It's that the have-nots are seeing that you are a have.
But
And I know I butchered what he said, but like that was
but that was the point of that.
And that is exactly what it sounds like. What you're saying, like this dude is asking for organic, where typically people are eating scrapple. And
there was a report where they were like
for breakfast.
There was a report where they were like, and I know there's a difference between federal custody and the state, etc. But like, there was a report where they were like, okay, inmates who were Muslim, were like, whether you had to eat pork.
Really?
I don't know how true this is. As I said, there was a report.
Okay.
But basically, it was like, here's what we're serving. You either eat it or you don't eat at all.
Gotcha.
Right? So it's not saying that, hey, they had to eat it, but it's like,
this is the only option.
Right. We're not adjusting
to benefit your belief system.
Right.
Or accommodate, rather.
So if you are not willing to make, and the problem is, I'm not going to say I know every religion, every religious belief, right? But I don't know a religion where organic food is the only thing you're allowed. It might be out there. I don't know.
It's none of the major ones.
Right. So
we'll go with that.
So you're not even coming to me, because if you came to me and you said, hey, I am Muslim. I don't eat pork, whatever. I could see as a prison system accommodating that because you're still a human.
Sure.
Just because you were arrested, you committed a crime. Right now you're serving your penance.
You technically haven't been convicted either. You were just been charged.
Right. You've just been charged at that point. Right. So right now you're serving. So I can see accommodating that. But the minute you decide, well, he's not eating because this shit was not purchased at Whole Foods, and you did not get it. It was not farm to table. I don't know the man who raised the cow that made.
Dog.
Get the whole entire.
No. And did you see homeboy who like was smiling for the camera, had on like the beanie that had the little pom pom on the top, had 45, and he had the podium in his hand.
Yeah.
You see, caught. Not only did he get caught, my boy tried to shave because he had a beard.
Yeah.
He tried to shave it down,
fam.
Like if that was going like get us to not know. And I think if I'm not mistaken, that might have been the one whose ex-wife called him.
I think that was him,
or something like that. But either way, like
the fact that they're getting caught. And they're actually, and I know one of them was released. The guy with the zip ties was released.
Was he?
Yeah, like
I didn't hear that.
He was released to home custody. Okay. So he's still pending like trial.
Okay, got you.
But the shaman dude, they're holding him.
Sure.
Right? So it's like, and the problem, of course, is they're picking him up in different states. So it's subjective. Like, the legal is whichever judge decides whatever they're going to give them. So
that's a whole different story, the discretion of judges.
Right, that's going to be another topic for another day. But the bottom line is they're being picked up, right?
Right.
The fact that they're actually, I don't care if they're doing 2 hours, I don't care if they're doing 2 days, 2 months. The fact that they're doing jail time, many of them that have never had handcuffs put on them involuntarily because we don't know what they do in their personal life. The fact that is happening to them on a regular right now,
dog, I'm loving it.
Warms my heart.
Dog, loving it.
But listen, on a more serious topic, right? So that happened, and it was crazy, and it was crazy to look at it. It was crazy to live through it.
Sure.
I had a coworker, a little bit of hyperbole, because he was like, he's angry about it, and I'm not gonna white guy, and I'll tell you why it makes sense that he's white, right? He's angry about it. Okay. And he was like, another coworker was like, something about the protesters downtown, and he chimed in. Stop calling them protesters. They were insurrectionists.
Yo, right? I love that word. Right. I love that that word has been like used by so many white people in particular.
Right. So
because you already know they love to whitewash.
Right, they do.
They're patriots and they're protesters.
But now here's what I realized, right, in listening to that, because I sat back and I listened to the dialogue. Sure, it occurred to me. And he's like, this was like the darkest day in American history and blah, blah, blah. Right. So listen. Right. So, and I realized what the problem was, right? Because I was like, well, I don't know about the darkest day.
He knows no better.
Right. I was like, there was a point where like America like owned people and used to sell people and rape people and beat and legally did it. And
I'll take it a step further. I don't want anybody taking this the wrong way. At that time, slavery was legal.
Right.
So I don't even think that was technically the darkest. I think it was darker after slavery was abolished.
Right.
And white people were still hanging.
And that's what I was going to say. Right. Oh, so that's what I did. That's so you know, in the conversation, I kind of like walked it up to them. Okay. Like, and it was when they were released, but white people were still doing that to them. And then there was
getting away.
Right. And then there was the point where like planes were flown into the Twin Towers and the buildings. Like,
you look at recent history.
Right. I was like, there was a lot of other dark days. But when I stepped back and thought about it, it made sense to me. Here's why that was the darkest day in American history.
For him.
Here's why. He saw his people
acting a fool.
Attack his country.
Facts. True. Right. Let's snap that shit up.
Right, son. That's what, like, I took a minute. Because at first I was like, every one of those other things was
someone else.
It.
It's now your people who look like you doing it.
Right.
That's a
good point. Your people
That's a good point.
Attacked your country.
Bro, that's you know what's funny? As you say that, so I've spoken to a lot of white coworkers who had very similar experience. We didn't have the conversation because quite honestly, like, I'm not here to comfort you.
No, not at all.
And I'm also not here to even like listen to you be
I don't give a
upset
shit
about whatever is going on.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure just like you, as the shit was going on in the Capitol, we were like, damn, that's crazy, but I wasn't really affected by it. I was like, remember, I don't believe the Capitol's mine anyway.
No, remember, there was a point where I posted, I was like, when the chick posted, hey, black people, this ain't our fight, I shared that shit immediately, like, hey, this is not our fight, y'all.
Just let him go. Let him go.
And that shit was during, like, then it was in the Capitol, when I was like, nope, this ain't us.
But it's funny though, because I have had some conversations with some white people who are
highly
very outraged, and I was like, but why are you so outraged? I don't know if that's what it is, but that makes
no. Don't be cute, dog. That's no, I'm just saying. Like, I know what you're saying.
I can't say that's what it is.
That's
but
what
like,
it is.
That's what it is.
Let me tell you, I sat back and I was like, of all the shit that has happened, like we watched in real time. Not to bring the mood down, we watched in real time a man put his knee on a man's neck and take the life from him, and you heard him call for his mom, right?
Sure.
You, not to say you didn't flinch, because I'm sure, like, as a human, you felt that.
You're 100% right.
Right. But you thought this, only a few months later, was the dark, no, one person died.
So you know what, though? I will say, I don't even want to say their defense, but in their defense, I will say that was the beginning of the turning of the tide, because
absolutely,
like that was the moment where I think a lot of white people in particular
realized,
were like, yo, there's really no justification for this.
Right.
Like all before it's well, he
always,
resisted.
Yeah.
Or he had a weapon. Or
yep.
But like this was the first time where like the outrage.
And it might not have been the first, but it was the time when it was the last.
I'm talking about where the outrage
right.
was like not just us. It was white people.
Right.
But similar to what you're saying though, like, and it was funny, like white people, my white friends and white coworkers were talking about it, and they were so distraught. And I was sitting there like, is something wrong with me that this doesn't, like, not that it doesn't bother me. Like, it bothered me that what happened.
You were not as shocked.
I wasn't shocked at all.
Because like, I remember.
This is another day in the life of being a black man in America.
I remember before that, I was watching the guy that the officer chased down in a field, and he tried to tase him or whatever, but it didn't take effect. And he's chasing him, and the officer says, I'm not chasing you. And he pulled, and the guy's running back and shot him. Right. So I remember watching that on video, and it's like, the trauma, the internal trauma of just watching, not a movie, TV show, fiction, real life, police killing black people like sport, right? And I'm not on the hyperbole train. So I'm not going to say, oh, they out here hunting us down like animals. No, but I can say there are specific...
You're not acting like Sean King?
Right, I'm not sure. Right, I'm not doing the... You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be... But I will say...
Sean Logic.
Not at all, sir. Not at all. But, you know, there are specific times where you're like, he planned to kill that person.
For sure.
End the story.
Convenience.
No, just no justification for it.
Right.
This did not have to happen, because at the end of the day, let me tell you the reality. There's almost no arrest. Not almost. I'll walk that back. There's no arrest that's worth killing a person for if it's just for the arrest.
Ever.
Not saying... it's to save anybody's life or to just the arrest. All I'm doing with you is arresting you if I catch you.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I'm not gonna step too far into this because I'm not law enforcement. I know you are, but I feel like part of it is also the cultural aspect of being law enforcement, and it's almost like an emotional immaturity around power and feeling like everyone is supposed to do as I say. And then when you layer on top of that, like, I don't really fuck with black people anyway. And it might not even be like I intentionally don't fuck with black people. Like, I've been fed what black people stand for all day. And I'm either fearful because I look at them as like this big black strong guy, even if it's a 13-year-old child, or whatever. So when you add all those things in there, for them, it almost makes easy math. For a lot of them, I want to put my head on a block and say it's 2 + 2 = 4. Where for us, we're like, it's way too complex. This is more algebra than just basic addition.
Right. No, I agree. Look, I'll tell you what, we're gonna jump into that one another. No, because right. There's a lot there, and we're gonna jump into that another day, right?
Okay, for sure.
So we're gonna swing this back real quick.
For sure.
What happened last week happened, and we got us to where we are here, right? Where, like we said, Trump used his influence, used his power, got his people to do, and I genuinely, I'll say this on the record, I genuinely don't think Trump thought this was going to happen.
I think that's bullshit.
Listen.
I'm gonna let you finish, but I think that's bullshit. Go ahead.
I think Trump thought that they were going to go down there and raise a fuss, and I don't think he thought they were going to storm the Capitol. I don't. And let me. I'm gonna let you finish. You a minute.
He's like, I'm gonna take my time back.
Right. Because I took some time to think about this. Right.
Right.
If you listen to that tape of Trump when he called the governor, the election officials in Georgia, right?
Right.
Keep in mind, he doesn't know he's being recorded. He's not talking to the news, the media, or his people.
Sure.
Right? He legitimately sounded like he believed there was fraud. He legitimately sounded like he believed. So I'm hearing my people are telling me blah, blah, blah. And there's this. So like when you hear how he's talking to them, they're saying that the Dominion voting machines are X, Y, and Z.
Sure.
So after hearing that video, there's a part of me that was like, I think he doesn't think he lost. Like I used to think think he was like putting on an act because he knew he lost, but he knew he had to do this.
Sure.
Hearing that, I was like, I think so.
I don't think that those are mutually exclusive, though. So I agree with you. I believe that he thinks he lost, right? Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. Other way,
that he doesn't.
I believe that he thinks he didn't lose.
Yeah.
Right. But I also believe that he knew what he was doing. I'm not giving him a pass on this shit because I'm gonna go back to like very quickly on like a topic that we talked about probably half an hour ago.
Okay.
And I know this is gonna be an unpopular opinion, but I don't care.
Okay, here we go.
I don't even believe that he is racist per se. And let me stop and sit your ass.
Good night, guys.
Sit your ass.
Thanks for coming.
Sit down.
This has been one episode in, and we're getting canceled. Doug.
Wait for it.
All right, real quick. Don't cancel us yet. We don't have followers or fans yet, so don't cancel us over episode 1.
But wait for it, because I have a point that I want to make.
All right.
And I think you're going to follow me here. I think he's fucking worse than a racist. He's an opportunist. So when you were... wait for it. Remember when you were talking about how he never talked shit about any president before, and then it wasn't until Barack. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't do shit that is racist, right? But I don't think he's inherently a racist person. I do believe that he buys into what every other white person in America buys into subliminally from a race standpoint.
Yes.
But I think that like why he's worse as an opportunist is he goes toward whatever it is that is going to serve him. So if it means that liking black people will serve him, he'll like fucking black people. If it means that like saying fuck all black people is going to serve him, he'll do that. And essentially he went on that side of it. And you fast forward to now, him talking about like, yo, it's a rigged election, and if I lose, it was rigged. If I win, it was not rigged, and saying we need to take over whatever it is. He knew exactly the kind of people that followed him because in all of his rallies, you had examples of people hitting folks of color because they were there. Not even because they were anti-Trump, but because they were there. Right. And then talking about how, I'll pay your legal fees. Right? Like, so he had little anecdotes of situations where he said, this is what is going to happen and this is what we should do, and people did it. So he knew the power. Maybe he didn't know the level of power that he had in saying what he was saying, but he knew what he was fucking doing, bro. Right. All right. I'm not giving him a pass on that shit. Stop. This is the end of episode 1. This is the Guys Unpacked.
Guys Unpacked Podcast.
I'm Drake.
I am Rich. We're inside of Soundbang Studios. Shout out to Soundbang Entertainment. Yo, shout out to Island Boys Cuisine.
Dog, that cabbage, nigga!
All right. So, right now you can follow us all on social media. Guys Unpacked.
Yeah, that.
Guys, the main.
Yeah.
Guys Unpacked.
Guys Unpacked.
Reformed Fuckboy.
That's me.
Logic Promotions. Doing our follow.
I'm also DJ Has the Music, but
follow Guys Unpacked Soundbang Entertainment, Island Boys Catering. We're gonna put all of that in the little. We're gonna add all that to the screen.
It's DJ Majestic. That's the guy who's.
Oh, it's DJ Majestic.
The music you sound right now, like the music you're hearing.
If you're hearing it.
Yeah, if you're hearing it. That shit's popping right now. That's nothing.
Right. So, all right, listen. Shout out to everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe, whether you're watching this on YouTube, Spotify, whatever platform you're watching this on. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. This is episode 1. We're going to come back weekly with this. We are going to chop up the latest topics. If there's something that you saw happen that you wanted to talk about,
comment.
Make sure you comment, send it to us, slide in the DMs, whatever you want to do. We will try to. And how did I know? We're going to try to get all of that to you guys, and we're going to, on a weekly basis, we're going to chop up the best topics we got. We're going to have some of our friends from our group chat are going to be joining us. So it's going to be myself, Dre, and different members of our group chat coming out to talk to you guys. So you're going to get a plethora of different experiences, different feedback from different people who got different points of view. All right?
So yeah, thank you for tuning in.
And
next time.
Next week. We out.